Hey, it's me, Zeno. Most likely you know me from my Factorio videos, but today I want to talk about a little project I have going on where I develop my own little game. It's called Get Wrecked. So, let's check it out. The game I'm about to show you inherits from this lovely YouTube tutorial by the user Plugworld. He showed me how to create a simple 2D arena shooter, and as you can see, it is quite simple. They are just rectangles flying towards his position, and whenever he shoots them and they take enough damage, they explode and leave a little bit of blood on the floor and increase a little score. That is the basic idea I took and built on. I had my own vision and I departed from his tutorial to realize my own envision of the game, and that's exactly what I will show you now. What you will see now is an old version of the game, like maybe 2 weeks old. And the reason I'm showing you an old version is so you can better understand which direction I took with my game. You can see there's some resemblance to the game from the tutorial we looked at just a minute ago. But there's one very big difference, and that was the moment I realized, hey, I want to diverge from the tutorial and do my own thing. Because you see, in the tutorial, the good Plugworld coded it in such a way that all these blood pixels that are splattered all around the arena get deleted after 5 seconds. They vanish and disappear. But I thought to myself, hey Zeno, wouldn't it be cool if that would be a core mechanic of the game? So I wanted the game to check how much of the background is not the default gray anymore. So how much of the arena did we actually cover in pixel blood? And as you can see, I realized that, I implemented that. On the top right corner you can see there's a value called coverage, and it counts up. Like every 5 seconds the area will get scanned and we will see how much of the area exactly we have covered. It checks every single pixel and returns a value depending on how much we have covered. And this is the idea I strive for. This is the ultimate goal of the game. Get 100% of the arena covered in pixelated blood. And I never did it, I never succeeded, because it will get quite hard. Because it will take just a long time. And to be honest, this right now, I'm so experienced in this old version of the game, because here is no difficulty setting, or there's no rise in difficulty. It doesn't get harder. You know, if you a little bit used to the enemies, their speeds, their behavior, you can actually stay alive for a very, very long time. Obviously, the background gets really messy and it becomes harder and harder to see the enemies, but that is by design. I want this to be that way, because this is like the edited difficulty. So it gets harder and harder over time, because it will be harder and harder to see the enemies, or the power-ups, or your own bullets, or even your own sprite for that matter. But it still feels a little bit boring. There's not much going on. I'm just moving around, shooting at the enemies, and there's not a whole lot of variation. It works, it's nice, but I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if the player could have upgrades, maybe to shoot faster, to move faster, to deal more damage? And wouldn't it be cool if the enemies would be different from each other? So we have different enemies per stage, instead of these regular 4 ones. If I go back to the main menu, I can show you that in this state of the game, we only have 4 different enemy types. I defined them all by hand, I gave them their values, and in the main menu we can take a look at them and see exactly how they differentiate from each other, how they are different to each other. So once this has loaded, come on, we can see there's a green enemy with 1 HP. It gives us 10 score and has a speed of 125. The yellow one has 2 HP, doubled score, is a little bit slower. The blue one, 3 HP, even more score, even slower. And then we have the very big one, the red one. He has 8 HP, gives us 80 score and has a speed of 50. So this was like the first prototype of my game, We have 3 power-ups, by the way, could mention that. This power-up holds 5 seconds and increases our damage by 10. This makes us shoot at double rate, and this is the one I'm most proud of. It makes our bullets wrap from bottom to top, or from left to right for that matter, or from top to bottom. So they don't get deleted when they leave the area, but they wrap around. Here you can see with the red bullets I can one-shot all enemies because the biggest enemy has 8 HP and we deal 10 damage. And the yellow power-up makes us shoot faster. And again, this all works, but it's not a whole lot of fun, I have to admit. So let's see what I did to change that. Welcome to the most recent version of my game. There are like 2 major differences I implemented. The first thing is we actually have stages now. So instead of having an endless army of enemies approaching us, we can now actually kill all enemies in one stage and go to the next. You saw that first stage was really easy with level 1 enemies. Now in stage 2 we have level 1 enemies, these guys with the 1 inside, and stage 2 enemies. They are purple and have 2 HP. Instead of being blue and having 1 HP, these are the guys from stage 1. Now, the number inside the box on the enemies doesn't show us to which stage they belong. Instead, it shows us how many HP they have, okay? So let's take this guy. This is a stage 3 enemy and he has 5 HP. So if I hit him, as you can see, he will have his number reduced. So it's just an HP indicator, some sort of a makeshift life bar. Now, the second biggest difference between this game and the last version is that all our enemies are being randomly created. So if we look down here, you can see, oh, the stage 4 enemies have 10 HP and move rather quickly compared to the other guys. And that's because they picked skills that made them more sturdy, giving them more HP, and picking perks that increase their speed and thus making them faster, obviously. And that is a system, I think, it's a whole lot of replayability to this little game. Because now, each time you start the game, you will encounter new randomized enemies. Even if I just start the game again right now, we can take a look at the enemies we had. We had a blue with a 5. The stage 4 enemy had 10 HP. The level 1 enemy was blue and had 1 HP. So if we start the game over now, all these enemies, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, all these enemy types get randomly created again. And you can see it down there. The stage 1 enemies are green now, have 1 HP, and they pick the perk, you can see it down here, very fast. So they move a lot faster than the last time. I mean, they are still stage 1 enemies, they are not really tanky or anything, but they are faster. And now the second enemies in stage 2, they pick 2 perks, very sturdy and very slow. So they will have bonus HP, and instead of 2 HP, which would be the normal value for stage 2, they have an extra HP because they are very sturdy. But at the same time, they picked at random the perk very slow, or the ability very slow. So they are not really dangerous. They are a little bit extra tanky, but they are extra slow at the same time. And now when I click and we go to the third stage, the third enemy is getting randomly selected, or is picking randomly perks. So now he's sturdy, very fast and slow. So he moves a little faster than usual and has a bonus HP as well. And you can already see that all these enemies are different from the enemies we had in the last run. And if I have to start again, you can see it works. These are level 1 enemies again, they are very fast. And you might have noticed that there's a little... I'm not sure if it's a bug or not. I hadn't this behavior intended in the first place, but now it is the way it is. These are now double picking very slow. And I can see an argument for having enemies not pick the same perk twice. But at the same time, it adds a nice element of chaos. especially now that I only have 7 different perks, I have to create more, you know. Having them pick the same perk multiple times can really make them hard. If they pick the very fast perk 3 times in a row, they will be pretty damn blazing fast, you know. Let's see, stage 3 enemies, they are sturdy, very sturdy and fast. So we are only in stage 3, but they already have 6 HP and they are even a little bit faster than they should normally be. So this is actually a very scary level 3 enemy. All this is obviously appointed by the fact, or completed by the fact, that harder enemies also give more reward. We collect kill bounty whenever we kill enemies. Slow enemies give less points, that's why I got distracted. The kill bounty was reduced. I will fix that in a later version of the game, because I think taking bounty away doesn't really feel good for the player. I will code it in such a way that slow enemies just give less points, but not negative points. But yeah, that is like the current stage of the game. But now we can even do 2 more really cool features I think are adding even more spice to the game. So let's take a look. When you go into the options, you can toggle on a chaos mode, and I will show you what that does real quick. Because it's rather easy to see. Now each created enemy will pick its own perks. Instead of having one type of enemies for stage 1, each single enemy in stage 1 will select one perk for itself and apply it to itself, and the next created enemy will have his own perk. And if we go to level 2 now, stage 2, there will be stage 1 enemies who have 1 HP and can pick 1 perk, or 1 base HP I should say, and can pick 1 perk. And we have stage 2 enemies who can pick 2 perks at random. And if we kill all enemies, now we go to stage 3 and you get it, we have stage 1 enemies with base HP 1 and 1 perk, stage 2 enemies with base HP 2 and 2 random perks, and we have stage 3 enemies who will already pick 3 perks at random and have a base HP of 3. So this is the chaos mode. Basically it just gives each enemy its own set of perks instead of creating groups of enemies that share the same perks. So finally we have the screen intensity shaker, screen shake intensity. You can put it down, so if you don't want the screen to shake, but I like the effect, I will leave it in. And we have a difficulty slider, so let's crank the difficulty up to... Actually, let's do it the other way around. Chaos mode off and just making the game hard. So we have the enemy types per stage again. So the level 1 enemies, they pick sturdy and have 2 HP. Very nice. I think I can beat this level. And the increased difficulty setting, as you can maybe see and notice, makes more enemies. So there are a bigger amount of enemies. So if we go to stage 2 now, we have stage 1 enemies, stage 2 enemies like before, but just the number of enemies will pose a bigger threat to us. You can see they swarm me already quite much. So while I try to survive, let me tell you about the bigger goal for the game. Because you can see, remember what the goal of the game was, I told you before, coloring all backgrounds in pixels. And right now we are in stage 3 and we have only 1%, like 1.27% or percent just are colored in pixel blood, or like our little bullet debris. So the reason the enemies are not bleeding really much right now is because I want the player to have the ability to upgrade between rounds. So let's say I die in round 5. You can see on the top left corner I have a total score. Like it's 11,000, 12,000 right now. And when the game finishes and we die, which could happen real quick if I don't concentrate a little bit, I want to convert these points into points that the player can spend on upgrades. And these upgrades will be permanent. So if he plays another round, starts a new game, he will have the upgrades he unlocked so far. It's called roguelite. Maybe you guys know from other games like Hades or Enter the Gungeon, or there are a bunch of games like that. Slay the Spire is another one, very popular one. So inside of a run, you can't increase your capabilities, you can't buy upgrades or anything, but after you die, before you start your next round, you can unlock permanent upgrades that make you stronger and stronger. Maybe you increase your shooting speed. Oh, these are hard enemies. Whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe you increase your shooting speed, maybe you increase the stun time. When you hit an enemy, you can see they get stunned really shortly. Maybe you can increase that. But also, I want the player to be able to increase the amount and size of the blood pixels that the enemies emit. So it will get easier and easier to paint more and more of the area in their sprite color when they die. So you can see right now there are like little red and green dots, but they are so small that it would just take an awful amount of time to paint everything. Like, again, we are at almost 4% now. Like, this is not a lot, right? But if you upgrade that sometimes, or a few times I should say, then you will be able to color the area much quicker. So obviously it will be a balancing act to give the player nice, cool upgrades that you can unlock. But yeah, I'm working on it, and that is like the next big step. Increasing, yeah, now I died, you know, can see I'm proud of that as well. The points get transferred. Like, this is actually looking cool, I think. I know, it's just a minor thing, but I'm proud of it, so let me. And yeah, you can see we finished like 6.56% only. But we got like 61,000 points, almost 62,000. And we could now spend that money on upgrades. And if we restart the game, maybe we shoot just a little bit faster. Or maybe we move just a little bit faster. Or maybe we have a crit chance that every 2% of shots make double damage or anything like that. So we can slowly evolve our character or our player character to be stronger and stronger and make the game easier and easier, progressing further and further in the stages. But since the enemies scale as well, it is like a race. Who will be better? Will your upgrades keep you alive long enough so you can harvest a lot of points so you can upgrade more when you finally die? And then you can progress maybe from stage 10 to stage 15. So then you die in stage 15, you upgrade, maybe next time you get to stage 17 or whatever. Maybe you die at stage 9, but at least you made some points, can upgrade your character again and move on. So that is the basic idea of my game. This was just like an entry level, okay? I plan to make a developer diary like this, like a video diary where I can show you and tell you about what exactly I do. I don't know how technically I want to be. We have to see. I don't know yet. But this video should give you a general idea about my game, I think. So the next things planned are adding more skills for more variety for the enemies and giving the player the ability to upgrade his character. And when that is done, I want to implement a save system so you can actually continue playing where you left off, because right now every time we start the game everything is starting at 0 again, so I want to take care of that as well. And then I think I have a pretty cool, actually enjoyable, playable game. If you want to play the game, by the way, you can do, if you go to Get Wrecked like this, the Get Wrecked, I will share the link in the video description just so you're aware. This one right here is like the old version. And Get Wrecked 2 is like the most recent one, okay? I will probably change that in the future. Just read like the little description down here so you know which one is the most recent version. Anyway, this video is already long enough. I will shut up now. Just a little heads up. I'm looking for a Praktikumsplatz. I have no idea how that is called in English, but this will be for German speakers anyway, so let me just put it out. I'm looking for a place where I can gain work experience. Ja, ich suche einen Praktikumsplatz. Ich möchte gerne von meiner Schule aus, ich mache ja gerade eine Umschulung zum Fachinformatiker, da brauche ich noch einen Praktikumsplatz für Dezember 2024. Also wenn ihr da was kennt, wenn ihr jemanden kennt, wenn ihr selber in einem Betrieb arbeitet, es muss Fachinformatiker für Anwendungsentwicklung irgendwie bei euch rumlaufen und ihr müsst ausbilden. Die 2 Sachen sind wichtig, sonst geht's nicht. Ich wohne in Hamburg, wäre also geil, wenn es in Hamburg oder Umgebung ist. Theoretisch kann es auch deutschlandweit sein. Müsste man da gucken. Also irgendwie jetzt, weiß ich nicht, das ist ein 6-Monats-Praktikum, 6 Monate nach Bayern oder so, oder weiß ich nicht, hätte ich nicht so viel Bock drauf, bin ich ganz ehrlich. Aber wenn es jetzt mein Traumjob in einem Traumunternehmen wäre, würde ich drüber nachdenken. Also, wenn ihr jemanden kennt, selber dort arbeitet oder Tipps habt, 6 Monate Praktikum, startet diesen Dezember, muss von der IHK beglaubigt sein quasi, also muss mit der IHK zusammenarbeiten, muss also ein Ausbildungsbetrieb sein und es ist Fachinformatiker für Anwendungsentwicklung. Wenn ihr da was kennt, schreibt es in die Kommentare oder kontaktiert mich bitte auf Steam. Auch da findet ihr unten in der Videobeschreibung die Daten, die ihr braucht, um mich anzuschreiben. So, das von meiner Seite. Ich sage Tschüss. Schreibt gerne in die Kommentare, wie ihr das Game bis jetzt findet oder zockt es auch mal selbst. Würde mich freuen. Und sagt mal, was ihr davon haltet. Ich sage jetzt mal ciao, ciao, bye, bye. Thanks for watching.